Ulonga tabati yada to ye kuma daifa. Inu to ye go je. Ulon fi bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Songo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o. Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisha Bemi, and we are back, tribe. After a little short break, we are back in the building, ready to get this party started with none other than the prolific Dr. Phil Valentine. Peace and blessings, Dr. Valentine. I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight.
Peace and love to you. Thank you for your time and invitation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, man, the last time we did this, of course, there was a lot going on, a whole lot of foolishness, craziness, and BS and all that other ish, and it just ratcheted up a whole lot more since the last time we spoke. So, there's a lot of things that I always, definitely hold your perspective and your thought process and just your experience, in this space with teaching and metaphysics in regards to how we should look at things from our perspective, especially from the melanated community's perspective. So a lot of things are going on that have taken place since the last time we spoke. And I remember one of the main things we spoke about last time off air was about how what was coming could and would affect our children. And so when we talk about the files and all these other things that are going on, and all the missing children that go missing every year and all this that's happening, where would you say we should be paying attention to what's happening in the world and within our communities and our environments like today, as of July 24th?
Well, I would suggest that everyone begin to kind of look to their own personal places, their spaces right now, and to get those spaces, bunkered down. I would suggest that there should be water. And if you're going to store it in the, 5-gallon jugs, make sure that you have smaller pitchers that also, that water, if it's stored for a while, that water would be poured through, at least 2 or 3 of them, to get rid of any contaminants that might have leached into it while you were storing it. Food, of course, dry goods, making sure that you also have these little burners. There are ways that you can actually take a 9-volt battery, wire it to a magnet, and you can actually create your own flame to be able to boil water. That's another thing that is necessary, to be able to boil water or to be able to cook during that time. If you can get a generator, even better. There are other ways also that they can show you to create light using magnets, alcohol, rubbing alcohol, magnets, salt, and you can generate light and electricity from that as well. I suggest you get a weapon, one that is easily managed, become proficient in it, and carry that. Also have a bug-out bag just in case you have to leave with certain essentials, especially when you have to deal with wounds. Definitely a water purifier, the what do you call the life straw. We have a few of those as well, just in case you have to be out in the wilderness and you have to dip into a pond in order to be able to drink water. It's an exceptional invention. It was invented by a black man. They never let you know that, of course, as usual. I would suggest that you get yourself a trust and make sure that if you are an elder, to get yourself ready with your trust to be able to either hand it off to your legatee or to whatever charitable organization you wish to give it to. Keep a minimal amount of money in the bank, because if things get really bad, they have what they call eminent domain connected to 9/10 of the law. So they can say that because your money is housed in the bank and on their property and in their property, that they can actually confiscate it. Since the money doesn't belong to you anyway, that you're borrowing it, it's private money, they have the ability to take your money and do with it what they wish. I suggest you don't buy any new cars. I suggest you can go buy any cars before maybe 2015, 2016, 17. All the rest of the cars, there is a plan right now to attack the automotive industry of the United States of America, to destroy that by creating the cheapest, most unreliable material, even with the high ends. This is only in America. They are doing this only in America. So those who not only control our financial system, but our manufacturing base, our education system, everything is under attack right now, and especially our children. You notice now that they're killing our young men, especially our young boys. They even lynched 2 young girls, I think 18 or 20 in all. They want us to fight with the white man or the pale man, pink man. They want that war to start. They want the race war to start. But there is a hidden hand, and that hidden hand now runs the entire United States Congress. They have their APAC. The hidden hand has always been at war with the Nordic white. You never knew that because they interfaced with them, and they did everything to uphold and give them as much of a kind of freedom, which they've taken back, by the way. You see a lot of Europeans are going through a lot of problems now, and they're coming to Black folks to learn how to cope, to know what to do. But to tell you the truth, this third or this hidden hand has always been at war with those that they felt was their immediate enemy. And quiet as it's kept, what's his name? Adolf Schicklgruber, you know who he is, was trying to warn people about who they were. Matter of fact, every place where you see a country actually falling and being destroyed, it was them. Communism essentially was created in the Vatican and was given to them because they were running the Khazarians at that time before they took over the Vatican. So you know, every time a question like this comes up, just to give you a quick answer doesn't really fix it. You have to understand the peripheral energies around the answer to give the answer substance. So you see me sometimes drift off into what seems to be other categories unrelated. They're not unrelated. They are related. Because there's so much information to speak on, you'll see me drift and bring in little integers, little offset materials that seem that they don't fit, but they're part of the puzzle. So preparation is everything. Get yourself some XRP, XLM, and XDC. Get yourself a cold wallet. And in so doing that, you're holding down your future. You're getting back into the market, what they call the Internet of Value. And the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies is coming up next. And that's a whole other story that we can get into if you wish.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that I want to get into, Doc. And being that we hit heavy into starting out with the water, I want to go back into this water thing because, you know, we're seeing now that this damn demon devil Gates is pushing the agenda for water. And I believe he's buying up a lot of water just like he did with the farmland and all that. But now they're trading water on Wall Street, Doc. What's the
right?
I know you know. What's the scenario with that?
You know, they did a test run for that in Bolivia. And the Bolivians went apeshit. They actually rioted and revolted until such time as the corporation, I believe it was Bechtel, and I believe it might have even been BlackRock or one of their subsidiaries, were going in there to privatize the water. Now, we knew that the privatization of the water would come about. And what they did was they began to cause, they have technology that can cause rain to stop in certain areas to create artificial droughts.
Wow.
And it did it in California as well, and in the mid parts of the country. You're going to start seeing a lot of famine and a lot of Trump essentially. Well, most people don't know that Trump back in 2016 and 17, I believe, that he converted to Judaism. He's not telling that to his Christian base, of course, but he does have the Christian. What do you call those who are all for the government? I forgot what
I know it. Dang it.
You know what I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The Nationals. Is it Nationals?
Christian Nationals.
Christian Nationals.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're supporting, of course, Israel, and Trump converted with his daughter when she married to the person who's actually the ambassador for the war that's now going on back and forth.
Mm.
And he married her, but he is actually an agent for Israel. And so Trump is essentially caught up because if you listen to a phone call, there was a phone call that came through that they had tapped into, Iran tapped into it, and it said that we have to, well, he was yelling and ranting and screaming, saying something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing. He says, I don't care what you have to do, start a war, whatever, but never let any of that out. So the people who actually did this, I call it the Epstein War.
Mm-hmm.
This war, it was actually created in order to cover up dozens upon dozens upon dozens of people in our government who are compromised. And they're compromised to the point where they were forced to essentially, have dual citizenship with Israel. And so that dual citizenship was their reward for not releasing all of the film they have on them raping little children, killing little children, ceremonies for drinking in blood and the whole 9 yards. All of that is on tape. Some of it is even on the dark web. So we know that this war was essentially to bankrupt the United States of America, to undermine its military, and to go after the so-called African American youth. Remember, there was an attaché from Israel who was an attaché to Georgia, and someone taped her stating that the greatest threat that Israel has. Now imagine this. The greatest threat to Israel is African American youth. The greatest threat to Israel is not Hamas, not Hezbollah, but African American youth. Now you're beginning to see that they know that there are two enemies aligned against us. There's the Christian nationalist racist with the KKK, and the covert Khazarian mafia, who states that we teach revolution. It's in our blood. It's in our historicity. And so the history of Black people is we know what to do. We know how to peacefully do what we do, blah, blah, blah. But we are the ones who change things. Well, very quietly, they undermined that particular spirit. They elevated the whore and the pimp energy, where we had our own, schools to teach. And so now we don't have that same kind of collective angst that brought us together, like Marvy, like Garvey, Malcolm, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and on the underground and the whole 9 yards. We don't have that kind of cohesive spirit anymore. They essentially taught that or kind of killed that in us. Everybody wants to become individual. And so that individualism now is working against us because we now are saying, and this is something that most Black folks are not paying attention to. Most people didn't know that when they went, that ICE is staffed by mercenaries who were from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Team. That's why their faces are covered when they come after you, because if you recognize them, you can actually pull up some of their pictures and what they did while they were IDF soldiers. Not only that, ICE is registered in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that. So we have to understand that we have been invaded, and they have taken over our government. We don't have the same kind of autonomy. So us coming together, the clarion call was to go after so-called African-American youth, the rebels who are not going for the crap. Look at even some of the white youth who are actually studying the true history, as brothers like yourself and other brothers who are actually putting it out there about who we were in the past, correcting history.
Yeah.
Making sure that most people understand that we were always here. That it was not imports. Less than 3 to 5%. Some people say 8%, but I say less than that came from Africa and were brought here. They were brought to South America and to the Virgin Islands. Most of them. So you have an indigenous state or an autochthonous state here. And they have to make sure that the revolutionary spirit is no longer there. And so that's why they put a target out, they put a contract out on youth. And now up to 17 of our youth been found hanging from trees, at the bottom of rivers. The war is against our youth, and we have not yet, essentially, locked and loaded. We're too busy worrying about what Beyonce is wearing.
Yeah.
Or what Jay-Z is saying, or if Chris Brown is on stage, and who else is twerking here and there. These people are all satanic.
Yeah.
They do not, no matter how you see them, because they're being given all kinds of new makeovers, visual makeovers and personality makeovers in order to endear you and to keep you distracted. But none of these people give a damn about you, the common person, unless you're paying money. They give you certain types of, side things where they help a few people, and that cuts off their taxes. Most people think that their altruism has to do with from their hearts. Maybe some of them, I don't know, but I don't think it's that, because more altruism you do and the more money you give out, the less taxes you pay.
Yeah.
Especially when you're making millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So we're so distracted, brother.
Yeah.
We don't have that spirit of unity anymore. And I call upon, this is a clarion call for all ex-military young men, that we got to create the deacons for defense again. And we have to go stealth. We got to hit back. We got to find out and identify the enemy. Whoever kills one of us, we kill one of them. And I know that sounds crazy.
No, that sounds damn sane from my perspective, because people call me crazy.
They don't.
Call me what you want.
And every time something happens like that, they bring out our preachers. They bring out our Rabbi Shah. This is the Sharpton protocol. No justice, no peace. Remember? No justice, no peace. As soon as something happens, everybody calm down. Everybody, So we don't want any of these boule Negroes who come out of college, who are there to protect the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. These are the people that come out of these sororities, and they say, well, no. If you are in a fraternity, a black fraternity and a black sorority, you are there as the gatekeepers for these parasites.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of that, Doc, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but I feel like there's a majority of people who feel one way, and then there's a small minority of people who feel another way when it comes to these things. We talk about celebrities. I know the last time you was on here, you went in on a lot of them, and I appreciate your authenticity for that. But some people, I feel like, kissing ass just because they are who they are, and they're not really looking at the grand scheme of things of the negative impact that they're you know what I mean, they're creating by being who and what they are. So do you mind if I share a clip from you from a young brother who I feel like is one of the revolutionaries that you're speaking about, and that you know we got a lot of them out there, but we need more. And then I wanted to kind of get your perspective on what do you think about people who are still pushing the narrative to kind of kiss the ass of these so-called celebrities and superstars and things of that nature. Okay, let me see if I can pull up real quick. Hold on a second. Okay.
Stand by my statements about Jay-Z in that video, because I don't respect that nigga. Jay-Z is the culture vulture of rap. He's the culture vulture y'all swear up and down Drake and all these other niggas that been all these years. This the same Jay-Z that was selling liquor to the black community from Douce to Cristal, being a poster boy for all these years. Then when they said they don't care about black people and Jay-Z buying their shit, he switched over to Ace of Spades and did the same thing. This the same Jay-Z who backdoored Colin Kaepernick and Jermaine Dupri for the NFL deal, used Travis Scott and motherfucking Maroon 5 as the leverage. Then when he got in the dough, we got to get past the kneel, and it worked at one point, but we got to let it go. And when Kaepernick and his wife checked that nigga, y'all told them to shut the fuck up and move on. This the same Jay-Z that got promoted as the president of Def Jam because he sold Dame Dash, Irv Gotti, Jay Prince, and Suge Knight out when they tried to make the first union in the music business so artists can get more out of their contract, and he went in the back door and sold them niggas out. This the same nigga that ushered in the 360 deals so artists can keep getting robbed and use Death to Auto-Tune, and killed T-Pain's career as the example for that shit. Because T-Pain was touching everything from album sales, singles, to shows, features. Nigga was getting credited just for using Auto-Tune and was doing award shows 2-3 years in the game. And Jay-Z stopped that shit. Then he want to be on stage talking about, oh, you niggas is some workers. Go holler at them white people and get your money back, even though you helped them white people take their money in the first place. And then let's get to the meat and potatoes of this shit. You at the Roots picnic. Did you and the Roots forget what a picnic was? A picnic is where a bunch of non-melanated people festive and kick it and hang out and then find a bunch of melanated and black motherfuckers to lynch off and kill. And y'all okay with this sellout ass shit? And then you on stage bragging about how you get under skin from when you stabbed up and come to find out it wasn't even about leaking your music. It was about both of y'all trying to fuck on Charlie Baltimore, which was Biggie's girl up until he died. If Biggie is your rap partner and your man, why you trying to move in on this girl the minute he get killed off? And then you wearing Biggie Jesus piece every time you go record an album on some ritual shit trying to harness his energy, you fucking weirdo. I don't fuck with Jay-Z, man. Get that bitch ass nigga up out of here.
Yeah, I got to concur with the brother because we cut from a different cloth. If you sitting out here celebrating them and who in the hell and him and the how and all that, yeah, we ain't from the same kind of side because I can't condone anybody.
From the heart.
Yeah.
I felt that, brother.
Yeah. So we do have some of them out there, but so with that being said, Doc, what is the fascination of these, whoever they are, we know who they are, that they're so fascinated with our youth? Like, what is it about our youth that they are targeting them the way that they are when it comes to this war? Because
we still hold on to our souls. They want to take your soul. That's when you see the eye, that look like somebody punched them in the eye. That's where they take your soul from. They go after it by blocking off your Kundalini, which is connected to the heart, and the heart is the seat of the soul. So Kundalini is the heart chakra is that green. You know, when what's his name made this traffic light, green meant to go. So when the chakra actually reached the heart chakra, which is green, that went directly. That was the go sign to go right through the throat. And to speak the word. The reason why it goes from the heart and hits to the throat, there are other mini chakras, but the main chakra wheel goes from the heart directly to the throat because the word returns to itself. In other words, the word made flesh comes through based upon resonance and different frequencies that you see that downloaded into your bloodstream, because your bloodstream is liquid crystal. And that liquid crystal is actually the calibrator for all of what you deal with, what we call cosmic consciousness. That calibration during the raising of the Kundalini, once Kundalini is raised to the heart chakra, which means green is go, remember red is to stop. And that's where if you get trapped there, that means that's you're trapped mostly into a sexual energy, which is what they want our women to be in, which they want our men to be in. Raising that Kundalini up into the heart chakra, it means green means go. And that green now goes directly to the purple, because the red and the purple have the same type of resonance. One is on a higher frequency. So from the heart chakra, it goes through the throat chakra, which is blue, which again represents the waters of life. And that particular blue chakra now is the segue that gets you through the ajna and what is known as the sahasrara, which is the crown chakra. And that then opens up. It causes when you were born, you know, you had that fontanelle, that hole at the top of the skull. It's a little indentation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that little indentation also is where you leave as well as where you come in. And so when you're raising Kundalini and you hit that first eye, the first eye essentially opens up the lotus. They call it the 1,000-petaled lotus. That's a whole other indentation that's not there until you raise it.
Like we
It
got a little
opens up
technical
a
difficulties,
vortex.
family, but we're gonna keep it pushing.
And
Try. Okay. Sorry, Doc. It froze up on my end. I wasn't sure if you were still speaking or not. I meant it might have been my internet. Okay, it probably was my internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when the Kundalini is raised past the heart and then goes to the blue throat, it gets up to what we call where the pineal, the ajna, where it begins to start rotating and creating a very strong vortex. And that vortex begins to open up the 1,000-petaled lotus that we call the 1,000-petaled lotus in the brain, which essentially are actually energy potentials that hit in all the sections of the brain at once. And that there is a part inside called the substantia nigra, where it's called substantia nigra because there's a strong and very concentrated collection of melanin in that area. So the pineal sits in this area called the substantia nigra, and it's all black. When the pineal, when Kundalini is raised, the part that's heading into that area, the lotus, spits out these phosgene, almost that looks like those sparklers. It begins to hit that, and it's like a mist that hits against the black there. Now the mist actually has, those when you go all the way to the bottom of the sea and the ocean, and these entities can actually create their own light, bioluminescence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a bioluminescence that happens inside of the substantia nigra, and that material that is spit in there, the substantia nigra and the ignited bioluminescence creates an arc, a rainbow. And that is the original ark of the covenant, not that stuff you see them carrying around.
Yeah.
Okay. So that ark now is what is the doorway. It's the portal. It's the Stargate. It's the area code that taps right into the music of the spheres. The music of the spheres becomes interpretive to the soul, because the soul doesn't deal on when it reaches to that level, the soul doesn't deal with words. It deals with frequency. And the so-called Om frequency that became the word is what you're speaking to, and what that part of you knows the language. In other words, that's the interpretation. Once you have breached through that Om sound that becomes the background noise of the Most High's evidence of its own presence, that begins to become the interconnected communication network that you then are saying that you're communicating directly with the voice of God.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's very powerful. Yeah. So there's a lot of other theories going on right now about the sun. Now, I know you've spoken about the significance of the sun, the power of the sun. You've given your breakdown of the sun. You've kind of clarified some of the misinformation and things that have been said about the sun in regards to what it is, how far it is, where it is, and what it's actually capable of doing. With what you just shared, how does the sun relate to what's happening now? Because if I'm not mistaken, you also shared with us that the sun is like a stargate and a portal as well, right?
Yes.
So how does that connect to what you just shared with us in regards to the pineal gland?
Well, it doesn't do well. The pineal doesn't do well in the daytime. It feeds. We feed through the melanin the necessary secretions. Once the sun hits melanin, melanin is activated and begins to secrete certain types of atomic structured light codes that begin to teach your DNA and everything else about your consciousness. If it's opened up and you're in tune with your body, it teaches your DNA things that you may not need to even look into a book, because the old folks never really had to look into books. They just knew based upon what nature would tell them, and to go into meditation. They would have the ayahuasca. They would have whatever it is that would, the tropics, and what happens is that there is a particular, how do I say it? There's so much going on that I don't know how to say it to actually give the people that's listening in a better understanding of it. Give me another question.
Okay, no problem. So, because there's a lot, like you said, there is so much going on. One of the things that I wanted to get into as well, before I even go further into that, because I don't want to jump around too much, so I keep it tight. But when it comes to the water thing and these so-called data centers that are supposedly, allegedly using up all this water, what's really going on with the droughts and all the water that's just turning up missing to the point where it looks like we're going to be damn near out of water in the near future? Where's that going, and what's that about?
It's HAARP. Remember, HAARP is used in order to either it messes with consciousness. First of all, it was set up to mess with consciousness, but it also can actually change weather by changing the amount of microwaves that are placed into certain areas of the dome or off the dome, and so you can actually. Matter of fact, it's not just HAARP. It's not just in Alaska. It's in Russia. It's in China. It's in all of the major. It's in France, and they all have these grids that are essentially relay stations that they can use to create conditions, weather conditions. They can create floods. They can create earthquakes. They can cause droughts. They can cause eruption of volcanoes. They can do all of these things. And the eruption of volcanoes came when Dr. Gabriel Oyibo went to Russia and to Japan to speak. And his Gij, J equals 0 subsumed Einstein's E equals mc squared. And that formula is what they're using now, added with Tesla, to create the kind of bioenergy weapons that we're seeing being used against us right now.
Wow. So, oh man, I don't. So with that, wow. And I know Dr. Gabriel Oyibo's work, because he also was able to identify God by mathematically breaking it down into the equation of pi. Correct?
Yeah. It was Gij, J equals 0.
Okay, that's so it's the same formula.
That was his formula. Yeah.
Wow. So what's
they call it? They call it the Gij, J means that it was God Almighty's Gagut. It was called God Almighty's Grand Unified Theorem. He did what Einstein couldn't do, and he came from the Igbo tribe, which is the Igbo tribe was some of the remnants of ancient Kemet. Those are the mathematicians.
Wow. Wow, this is deep because I just found out that I have some of my ancestors are from that tribe. So that's
Yeah,
powerful.
well, that would make sense right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. And they not with the shits either. So but okay. Wow. So now I was curious to that. I'm so glad that we're on this topic now because I was under the assumption that a lot of the weather that was happening, I know that a lot of it is manipulation, but I also felt like some was natural. So what do you feel like the percentages of the natural things that are happening with nature versus what's actually being created or manufactured, through these CERNs?
I would say it's a good question. I would say that at least 30% of the weather manipulation is at least 30%. It's going to go up greater now because they're going to institute it or implement it over in Iraq.
Mm.
You're going to start seeing weather modification weaponry used against them, and they're going to be what they call micro nukes. They have they have weaponry called micro nukes that can actually get to underground bunkers where most of they are. But they see the thing is that they're exhausting the American military. The American military is actually being used at the behest of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is they want to weaken our military. In the meantime, China's military is building up. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the engineering feats of China lately.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, the reason why they can actually expand the way they're doing today with these magnificent, I'm talking about almost impossible buildings and bridges that they're making. The reason why they can do that is because they own the United States corporation's debt.
Yep.
And because they can do that, they can actually use it as leverage to borrow money from the World Bank and from WF, the world, what's it? The world something. I don't know. But anyway, the main thing is that they are exhausting America's military. They're exhausting America's youth, all the people that could fight back against what's happening. And in the meantime, they are now controlling Congress. They've gutted our banks, and they at least more than $1 trillion has gone to Israel. This company says we send $1 billion a year, but we have over $1 trillion that we send over there to them, and they don't give a rat's ass about any of us over here because remember we are the goy, we are less than human, and they don't need to even worry about us because we're supposed to be ending up after they've done all they've done, and their Messiah comes back that they will all each have at least 13 slaves or something to that crazy effect. Of course, they hijacked and jacked your culture, the Kumadu, I call it, what you call Hebrew, but they hijacked your culture, like they hijacked everything else, and like they pimped and kidnapped everything else. Everything is run by them, even the porn industry, the kidnapping industry, the murder industry, the judicial industry, the education, entertainment. They run pretty much everything so they can come out now with impunity and actually say that the enemy is your young black people, your young black children. It's time that most people don't understand it until it's too late. People like you and myself and Bobby and Delbert, rest in peace, and other brothers and sisters that are out there, Brother Ashwa Kwesi, Brother Rich, Brother King Simon, and all of the brothers that's out there doing their thing, brother Hank. A lot of the brothers that are out there and sisters that are out there as well, Sister Shakira, and other sisters that are out there doing the work. It's not enough because it isn't collectivized like it was with Marcus Garvey. It isn't collectivized like it was with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It isn't collectivized the way it was with Malcolm. You see, we don't have that collective spirit because we've been all taught to be individuals.
Yes. And Doc, I feel like and not to cut your wisdom, but I feel like a lot of that is part of the strategy. It's part of the war tactic, because it's divide and conquer, you know, because and shout out to all the brothers and sisters who are doing the work. But what I see is there's this narrative of trying to create this separation factor. Oh, well, you're not into this spiritual practice, or you're not into this school of thought for metaphysics, or you're all for the Africa, I'm African, or you're all for it's America's the indigenous in the first land. It's just so much foolishness that I see that's going on. I'm like, man, we paying attention to the wrong shit, because when we really look at it through a real deep scope, we need to be unified against all accords on the unified front, because that's where the true power is. But it's like we're falling for the trap of being in this divide and conquer, you know, mentality. And so it's like, what do we do to kind of get rid of that for us to be able to kind of unite and work collectively for a united?
Well, we have to work in the schools. First, we got to take them out of the schools at the earliest stages. At the earliest stages, you either have to come back to understanding how to teach your children, because you're giving them over to the enemy, and the enemy is just warping them. They don't come back the same as you. You give them the music. I saw some kind of ridiculous thing where the women are now training the young girls how to act like whores.
Yes.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
And then they say, well, you know, and again, they don't like, you know, some of us don't like to hear what it is the truth causes or brings up. I'm not perfect.
Right.
That's why I do what I do. I research to perfect myself, because that's what you're here as a human being, is to perfect. You're not perfect. You're in a perfecting stage. I keep saying that if the statistics are showing you something and you're going only on your feelings, then we can't go anywhere, because we've handed over the jurisdictional as well as the operational dynamic of our Black society to women, young women, the modern woman, who's all about her own individuality, about her feelings instead of facts. And something that has to do with logic. Does she fall in love with you? The modern woman today doesn't fall in love with you. She has fallen in love with the feelings you give to her, which is why she can leave your marriage at 80%. 80% of marriages are broken up by women. I mean, all men are bad? They come on and confess that they had a great man and they left him. 80% of the time. 90% if she's educated. So what we've done is we've defaulted to women's emotions, which means we'll never get together. And if we do, we're just going to gossip. We're not going to fight or get into warrior mode. We're going to talk too much, because action then becomes, you know, toxic masculinity, putting them into their places. And of course, statistics is what they don't want to hear. And this is no castigating. This is something that has to be said. Why is it that only like 30 to 40% of men, Black men, have children? 30 to 40% of Black men have children. Okay? Only 30 to 40%. 66% of women have children, Black women. So the majority of men don't have children, Black children. The majority of women have children, which means the small portion of men that they bed down with are having children with multiple women. And these women are choosing this particular group of people who are not really men, who are not responsible men. So whose fault is that? Okay, they say that single mothers, and there's a whole new excuse coming up that's saying that, you know, they can take care of that. I said, single mother and single parenting is not a family. That's a survival unit.
That's facts.
It's a survival unit. And so we don't have that. We don't have the man and the woman. And here's the other thing. They did another set of statistics, and these are white people doing these statistics. They talk about something else, of course. But statistics shows that the Black father, listen to me out there now, y'all be at me, but go do your research. The black father is in the lives of their children more than any other racial dynamic, white, Asian, Hispanic.
Yes.
Let me repeat that to all you when they deal with this bullshit trope about black men not being in the lives of their children. That's BS.
Yes, sir.
Because statistics show that black men are more in the lives of their children than any other dynamic, white, Asian, or Hispanic. Now, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
You just shove it under the rug. And that's the ridiculous part of it. We can't get together because they learned to destroy the family by growing the greatest level of distrust in women by constantly showing her doing what men do. And what do? Every time they show you she's in the gym doing what? What are women doing now in the gym? I mean, out there in public. The only way you see them displayed today is in the gym, lifting weights and doing what men do. Women didn't get themselves ready for anything in life back in the day, going into a gym trying to hoist energy and weights above them. That's ridiculous. So everything they're doing is to get individual, and their form of individual is to imitate men. Men don't want women imitating themselves, so they've learned to create that schism.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't have any popularity, and everybody becomes mad at me. What does he know? What do I know? I'm in my late 70s. I know a hell of a lot more than you do.
Listen, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to get your thoughts on the fact of, because I agree with what you're saying, but the caveat to that is I feel like a lot of this goes back to war strategy, though. Like how relative do you feel like the whole the whole strategy way back, from J. Edgar Hoover to the welfare programs, or all these different Section 8, all these different programs and systems and things that they've been putting in place. It's created that narrative in let's not forget the whole agenda with the media, especially the music, how they're creating that narrative through that as well. So how do you feel like we should be dealing with that?
Listen, Gay Edgar Hoover was a black man. And most people don't know that his aunt or his mother or his mother's, he comes from a grandmother was black.
It's freezing.
You can see me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or yours, but something's acting up, man.
Every time I come on, there's always drama.
Listen, trust me, I know. No, they ain't stopping no show tonight, though. We're gonna keep pushing through that.
No way. Yeah, where were we?
You said we were talking about J. Edgar Hoover and like the agenda to separate the black male and female.
J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser. And they got us worrying mostly about, and everything is now the cartoons are dealing with gay. You got two gay men. You got two transformers in basketball, female basketball. You got Brother Britt and Brother Cat, Brother Caitlin. So his first notice that they always take on a male name. They hide it inside of a male name. Most people don't know it. Taylor Swift. These are all these are Transformers. What's Caitlin's first name?
I thought it was Caitlin.
Yeah, no, what's the last name? I mean,
Clark. I want to say Clark.
Reverse it.
Wow. Wow.
And we're so accustomed to masculine butch-looking women. We don't even see it.
That's going on in the political arena. It's happening. You know what I'm saying? The politician. Any high-level so-called society, what they allegedly are.
Well, I mean, Bush was married to a man. Bush was married to a man.
Clinton.
Bush Senior was married to a man. Obama. Who else?
You gonna ruffle some feathers with that one, Doc, because a lot of people swear.
Anytime you want, you can go ahead. Go ahead. Bring your feathers over here. Bring them over here. Let me go.
Listen, a lot of people swear up and down that Michelle ain't Michael. So I'm just saying for the people in the back saying that that's Michelle. That's not Michael. That's what they saying.
Well, they switching out now. It's not the same Michelle. That ain't the same Michelle.
Wow.
There are two Michelles. Wow. And I showed that in my webinar. I showed it forensically. I showed that she wasn't pregnant. Picture with her pregnant. She had her hand on her stomach, and had 6 fingers. Does she have 6 fingers? Wow. No. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And if you fool all the people all the time, then there's one who flies over the cuckoo's nest. You need to just do your due diligence. You're so busy looking at butch women, you can't tell the difference anymore. You see? And most people are not looking at it that way. What's her name? The singer that I just called out?
Megan?
No, not Megan. No, not Megan.
Swift. Taylor Swift?
Yeah, Taylor Swift. You notice why what did she say when she got married to your boy, the football player?
I don't know. I haven't really been following that crap, but
we don't. Why? Because I have to follow him because she says I don't want to have any children. I'll raise my cousin's child. That's because you can't have children. And nobody's paying attention. You see, you got to put on the glasses like they did in They Live.
Yeah.
And you got to see them for what they are. You can't trust anybody today. They're looking prettier and prettier today. You know, there was one blog, or it was one post where this pretty little thing was over there talking, and she, and this guy was talking. He's trying to boo up and hey, and she was saying, you didn't hear her because she's fucking real sweet. She says, I have a dingling. You're saying I have a dingling. And then he said, what? I have a dingling. The guy jumped back and it came out of this pretty little face. Now, your boy Britt, they already said, you can hear by her voice, you're going to actually listen to this man talking to you with a voice that's deeper than mine. And you're going to think that because he plays basketball, look, do you see any breasts on Clark Caitlin? Do you see any on your boy Britt? Britt Grainer? None. You got to remember these people are into distortions.
Oh, yeah.
Satanic. They breed on distortions. They live for distorting nature.
Yeah.
That's their affront to God. What do you think that D-Wade did to his son?
Yeah.
That's how they sacrifice to get that's their ticket through the toll.
Yeah. That's terrible, man. Ain't nowhere in hell.
What about Charlize Theron? They show you Charlize Theron with what looks like a little girl. Those were little boys.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. The tribe, they asking questions. I'm gonna definitely I'm gonna pull all the questions. I'm gonna start them. I'm gonna pull them up when we get ready to wrap it up with Doc. But as far as like for example, Doc, the technology, right? I know there's a lot going on with these, these EMF waves and the Elf Towers and all these things. Shout out to Dr. Blair too, because he was one of the first people I ever heard speak about that back when I started my journey. And he would sell the diodes and things of that nature to kind of help us to eliminate, the impact. Oh, that's what's up. I know that's right. Yes, sir. Listen, I got my orgone battery somewhere. I think they might be on one of my shrines, but listen, I
got my orgone pyramids all underneath here. Ain't nothing getting through here, bro.
Yes, sir. I usually have them with me, but I was trying to get set up without running late. So I said I'm gonna have to get them next time. But how does all that stuff affect us though? Because I feel like that has the ability to affect our mentality, to affect our thought process. Hell, I think they driving some people crazy, making people commit murder and murder, suicide, all kind of stuff. How is these waves and frequencies affecting us, Doc?
They're sleepers. What they do is you have sections of the brain that operate consciousness in different perspectives. The lower perspective, which is what we call the reptilian brain, and the forward, what they call the frontal lobe, are connected by a thing called the amygdala. The amygdala switches. It's like a switch. It either switches forward or switches back, depending on the thought process, depending on the emotional structure in the thought process, and depending on whether or not it's artificial or it's you doing the switching. Today, because of the technology that we are always in right now, we're in a sea of electronic pollution. What happens is the amygdala, and this is what they do with trauma-based mind control. You should get the book by Fitz Springmeier, when they deal with Illuminati mind control, and they're dealing with Ultra, MK Ultra. MK Ultra is trauma-based mind control. Trauma-based mind control creates alters in you, where the brain, in order to cope with pain and cope with the brutality, it switches into another personality in order to get away from it. And so the amygdala, and this is the thing where, say, Professor X uses his brain to do things to people. If you do have the ability at telepathy, the frontal lobe has a fail-safe kill switch. You cannot attack someone using that type of thing. In fact, they say that the reptilians have the ability to get into your mind. Well, if anybody has the ability to get into your mind organically, that opens a door two ways. And it was a very close friend of mine who was supposedly, he wrote a book called The Coming of Tan. His name was Riley Martin. And he said that they taught him that when the reptilians use mind control, the thing about the reptilians is that once they get into your mind, they open a doorway that you too can influence them. And what you do is you hold them in the greatest contempt and use images of you tearing apart, sticking your finger in their eye and pulling their eye apart and so forth. And that begins to short circuit their attempt to control you in your mind. There are certain types of ninja techniques where you deal on telepathic ninja. You have telepathic kung fu, so to speak. And that's what we teach at our university, about how thought works. So, yeah, you have that ability to be able to defend yourself, but they have technologies that can artificially switch your amygdala back into your reptilian brain. And that's why you see people walking around where they call them these Karens, and they have this crazy type of thing where they you don't know what they're doing. They're just, they're attacking people. That's because they're under the influence of this electronic smog and all of these so-called towers that you see, family. They call them cell towers. They're not cell towers. They don't need the cell towers. You don't need the cell towers to be able to broadcast or to send it over radio waves. What you do have are radiators that disrupt consciousness, that can actually cause you to become tired, cause you to create accidents. They've been experimenting on people for a long period of time. I don't know if I'm still on the air.
Yeah, you here. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, I was just highlighting you while you were dropping them jewels. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, nah, that's powerful. And the tribe going crazy in the comments too. And I definitely know that there are a lot of attacks that are happening via the waves and the technology, because shout out to the brother. I'm about to pull up his comment right here because I definitely can relate to this. So shout out to the brother at Trey Truth 619. Says they shoot frequencies at my ears and I know when I wake up. That's real. Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that, because I feel like there are times when I know for a fact that I'm under some sort of attack through technology or something based upon the mood, the energy, and then the way things kind of happen in a, you know what I'm saying, a flash. And it's like, it doesn't seem as if, I know it's not natural. And it's like, it's one of them things where, you know how the environment, if you're in an environment full of like negativity or negative people, you can kind of maybe take on and absorb some of that energy, and then it, you know, it transmutes through you. But there's times when there's none of that around, and it's just like, then these, you know, energies or these feelings or these thoughts or whatever come, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know this is some bullshit. So, you know, you got to kind of strap yourself up and connect to what you know is that North Star. I know I got a personal voice that's the one that's always right. Like, no matter what's going on, this voice is always the voice of reason. That's never led me down the wrong path before.
Yeah, that's your observer talking to you, and that means that you've elevated past your thought process. It's the thought process that gets attacked, and it's connected directly to the mind, because if the mind thinks that the thought is all there is, then it's connected directly to the mind. It oversteps the observer, which is the mediator between the mind and your thought process. So the observer is the one that sees what the thoughts are seeing. The observer is who's listening to the music that you have in your head. It's the observer that you have that essentially brings back memories and has you talking about them. That's what it is that they want to attack. They want to make sure that your thoughts override your ability to observe whether or not you're thinking your thoughts or they're thinking you. In other words, if thoughts are thinking you, it means that they've invaded your space. They've interrupted that observer's ability to decipher between the mind and the thought process. And you are now caught up thinking that this is who you are and what you are. And that's not what you are. And as the brother was speaking about it, you're in a smart. What you need to get yourself is a blanket, a Faraday blanket. Faraday. Get a Faraday cap, a Faraday blanket. I have a Faraday covering for the television. Nothing can get through there. If you're building a house, get lead paint. Lead paint, essentially, before you put the other covering of the paint over it. Or put the Faraday in the walls that disrupts any kind of frequency or any kind of invasive X-ray technology that they could beam right into your home and see everything you're doing, hear everything you're doing. Okay, so yeah, they can read your thoughts. They read your thoughts because, listen to me, do you ever see anybody when somebody is speaking and they don't have the ability to speak through their mouth, they stick something right next to their throat and you can hear them talk? Well, that's because your mind is actually saying what you're saying before it gets here. And if this shuts down, you can connect directly here to the palate. Why? Because this is the very last thing that developed once you took on the avatar in third density, is speech. It's the most cumbersome form of communication that we had to adapt to because we had mind-to-mind communication, because we were dealing more with energy transferences. And some people have that ability, especially when they take psychotropics.
Yeah, that's powerful, Doc. And so I know, okay, so there's when it comes to who and what we are in terms of how the creator created us, right? You know, we have mind, body, soul. And then, you know, some people would say that we have a duality within our existence. I've heard you speak of having a trinity within our existence. And so I know I've personally had a lot of different experiences out of body, whether it's through meditative states, whether it's through sleep, whether it was astral projection. Like, there's a lot of different times. And matter of fact, this is something I want to bring up too, because I've had two different people give me two experiences that they had with me transforming and like disappearing from one location and reappearing in another location within a small vicinity. Two different people told me that this happened to them, and they weren't sure if they were dreaming or it happened in, you know what I'm saying, in their consciousness, you know, their conscious reality. So when it comes to those types of abilities, for us to be able to either transform or degenerate, regenerate, whatever the case may be, is there a way for us to tap into these levels of the brain or you know, the power that we do hold that was kind of disconnected from us, you know, throughout the evolution? And if so, what do we do about it? How do we access it?
Well, what you had, that experience that they had of you, is called the phenomenon of non-locality.
Mm.
In other words, if you look at atoms, atoms don't really exist. They can exist one place, but since everything in time is based upon three-dimensionality, that becomes the non-local means there is no one place that you are. You're in multiple places.
Mm.
So the phenomenon of non-locality would have you thinking about something and someone could see you in the crowd somewhere on the other side of the country. And so what the principle is that we live inside of a cauldron, a matrix, how do I say it?
Simulation?
It is a simulation, and it's a Merkaba. It's an engine. It's an engine that runs the matrix.
Mm.
It's a programming that runs the matrix, and every matrix is a lesson plan.
Mm.
And we choose the lesson plan that we want to come back to, and we chose one hell of a one because we chose to help a savage, a neo-Neanderthal, troglodyte, knuckle-dragging son of a bitch to try to bring some humanity in him. And Lord knows our reward is going to be incredible. We're going to be celebrated. They're going to be throwing rose petals like they did back in Coming to America.
Yes,
for
sir.
what we had to endure down here with this bastard.
Yes, sir.
So what the non-locality is what it works because the here and there is actually an imagination. It's something that we're participating in. We signed a contract to agree that all this exists.
Mm.
And what has happened is the contract essentially puts you into, like, quote unquote, a simulation. The simulation is based upon the contents in the contract. Each person has, in different dimensions of existence, a specific criteria for their own existence. They come back as criminals, they come back as victims, they come back as musicians, they come back as teachers, they come back. That's why I could never do it as musician.
Mm.
Look at these are my close friends here. Earth, Wind, and Fire. All right? I'm just celebrating my boy Fred right here. He's one of my students, and he passed away on New Year's of 2023. And Brother Phillips, where's Philip? Philip's son is my student as well. And I grew with them, and I met, of course, with Maurice back in New York. And the main thing is that there's so much that we are missing right now as a people. And I know it sounds like I'm deviating, but I'm not. There's so much that we are missing as a people, and what we are not able to do with our own thinking, and what we are not able to do with the contract that we have signed ourselves with. The contract right now is at a stage where we are coming to a place within this particular contract where the animus will win, where artificial intelligence and synthetic intelligence takes over, and the physical blends, because that's what the programming is for this particular trajectory in the Merkaba, in the programming. This particular simulation was programmed to fuse the artificial with the organic. The problem was that those who supposedly are the fallen angels, which is a bunch of crap because it's fallen angles, the angles that take you from the highest points to the lowest points.
Mm.
Angels and angles are the same.
Mm.
You just switch around the L. A-N-G-E-L, the angle, A-N-G-E-L, E-L is actually Saturn.
Mm.
So the angstroms, which you're talking about electricity, all that is energy coming out of Saturn, or under the actual word was the angstroms of Saturn. That's what angel means.
Mm.
A-N-G-L-E, switching it around, it's no longer up in the sky, it's down here. So what was angels up there, or A-N-G-E-L, or L being Saturn, which is the great stabilizer, the Satan, which is the adversary, which is the tester, which is the proctor for the test. And this is who his people are. These little hats. And they're there to test. So now, because they don't have the soul, they don't have the ability to access the mind of God like you with your melanin, they need to do it artificially, as I said many times before. They need to put on a skin of synthetic materials to augment what they do not have the ability to do. And everything you see, every time they try to crush us to earth, we come back. White people are online right now lamenting the fact that they don't know what to do with themselves. Meanwhile, black folks are dancing and doing what we do as we normally do. Why? Because we are the coping mechanism for humanity. We teach humanity how to cope with the bullshit. Doesn't matter how much they kill us, torture us, do everything they do. We still come back smiling. We still bring you to the cookout. Because as, what's his name, the great Carol Barnes, who wrote on melanin, and I forgot the other name of the other great man who went forward. Melanin is the mellow molecule. People wondering why, why black folks so lazy? Black people ain't lazy. We built damn pyramids. We built civilizations. It's just that we know when to chill. The reason why the white man needs to drink so much and he introduced this kind of strong alcohol is because the alcohol is the only way that he can break down the oxygen or break down the iron, the ferrous iron, into heme or hemoglobin iron, so that transportation of oxygen can be possible in his body. Which is why in all the movies and television shows, the first time they open up a scene, they want to know, you want to drink? They need the alcohol in order to process so that they can breathe. These are some of the things that most people don't know, that what we have adopted as the habits of Europeans or pale people or people who are sans melanin, their habits for survival is what we've taken on as lifestyles. When you ever see people actually walking around, black people walking around with fur coats, except when you're up in the Arctic or we come up in the cold weather?
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you now, Doc. They keep this.
You mean I've been talking on?
No, we heard you. We heard you. We heard you probably about 98, 99% of everything you said. I know on my end it froze up. That's why I jumped back on. I was going to ask the tribe if they heard you, but we heard you. We heard everything you said.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't want to be ratting on. Let me just take some questions.
No. Listen, we here for that though, like for real. And one of the things too, because you did drop a lot of jewels, and I want to dive into something that I feel like it could be controversial depending on the perspective of which people are looking at it, but I would love to hear your opinion on it. And then I would like to ask a couple more questions if we got the time permits in regards to extraterrestrials, because I know I got a couple of shows I want to do on that and I want to get your perspective on it. But when it comes to what we call the European, the non-melanated male or female on the planet, right? So there's a book right here. This one, I think we've talked about it before, The Iceman's Inheritance, right? Absolutely. Very powerful piece of work.
Yes. I
wanted to ask you, because I know what the vast majority of those types of people are doing amongst the earth, but when it comes to a brother like Michael Bradley, who is a person who I feel like sacrificed or put his life in jeopardy to tell the truth, right?
Big time.
How do you feel about the people of European descent who do the type of work as a Michael Bradley, or some of the ones that's done work on the Dogon tribe? I can't remember the names right now, but there's several authors who are European that I respect their work and I have their work and study their work because they're telling the truth. How do you feel about those types of Europeans? And do you feel like, what's the percentages that you feel like that are good people or have good qualities that will act in a way of integrity?
Well, it was about 2 or 3%, and now it's growing to about 15 to 20% because the youth can't be stopped. The youth amongst them has been so immersed into, through hip hop, through the music that we did, through the dressing, the style of talk, everything. They do everything we do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We essentially showed them our humanity, and what they're exposed to every day in their own homes is the inhumanity. And so what has happened is a lot of, hi, how you doing, Jenny? What a lot of people have not seen is that, for instance, Michael Bradley, Professor Michael Bradley, his book, actually, his introduction is done by my mentor,
Dr.
Dr. John Henry Clark. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And when he wrote The Iceman Inheritance, I keep telling you that the Khazarian mafia, the Khazarian cabal, who runs everything today, they, from the time in the 1940s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, when they went after the Germanic people, they essentially were actually at war with the Nordics. The Semites, they call themselves, which they actually adapted that. The Khazarian, these Khazarian cabal, who were actually thrown out of the Ukraine. That's them going back into Ukraine and causing all the madness. They're reconquering the Ukraine to take back Khazaria. Khazaria was the Ukraine and part of Russia. They were so low life. They were such scum. They were such the most evil sons of bitches. They used to rob and take the place and otherwise assume the identity of people when they would attack. So you would know that they were amongst you. Hello. So the Russian Confederation came together with the Tsar, and through a confederation of states, drove the Khazarian Empire out. Meanwhile, all of the booties that they had, all of the gold they stole. Meanwhile, you remember, these are the ones that did the child sacrificing, which is another reason why the Russians at that time and the Tsar at that time drove them out. They're the ones who introduced Mulak. They're the ones who used to kill their children. Okay? So they attacked and got rid of them, and these, like dandelions, like a plague, they scattered throughout Europe. And because they had so much money, they began creating these banking situations. So what you have are the Khazars that essentially have taken over everything, and they're now coming back and reinstituting what was an old, a long time evil civilization that is now resuscitating itself. And this resuscitation now is taken on. You got to give it to them. You remember Sun Tzu said, celebrate your enemy's victories, because he has taught you something about yourself. You see? And so you study what it is that he has done. And but I forgot my train of thought because there's so much to speak about. The main thing is that
no, you were sharing how, because the initial question was, what do you feel like in regards to the people who are of European descent that are good versus bad?
Right.
And then
Thank you very much.
went from the percentages. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Brought me right back around. Thank you, brother.
No
This
problem.
whole brain sometimes got so much stuff going on inside of it. Anyway,
we love listening to it.
Michael Bradley, when he wrote The Iceman Inheritance, the so-called Zionists and the rabbis of Israel loved him because he was talking about white folks. They welcomed him. They brought out the flowers, the red carpet, went to him. Then he went and did something and wrote something called The Empire of Esau, where he showed that these same so-called Khazarian Jews were the closest to the Neanderthal. So I call them neo-Neanderthals, because that's what they are. They're the new Neanderthals.
Mm.
And because he did that, once he outed them for where they came out of the Levant, once he outed them, they threw his ass out, almost killed him.
Wow.
Because he opened up who they really were. So now the battle has become, ever since they overtook the Masonic Lodge, destroyed the Masonic Lodge, the old Masonic Lodge of these white people were being taught from the East by the blacks and the so-called Muslims.
Mm.
That's who the what do you call them?
Black
Knights
nobility?
Templar.
Oh, okay.
No, Knights Templar. The Knights Templar were the bankers. Those are the ones who were the poor righteous teachers, the ones who were the poor guardians of Christianity over there in the East. But they learned. That's where the word assassin comes from.
Mm.
It comes from Assis, who was essentially a cabal of Muslims who were assassins.
Mm.
And the ones who did, who's the guy who did Open Sesame? Remember
Try,
the guy?
please. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. I can't think of it. Try, please put that in the
Aladdin.
comments.
Aladdin
okay,
was
okay.
Yeah, Aladdin was one of the heads of the assassins.
Mm.
But they made a story out of it.
Cartoon, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
fast forward. The Knights Templars had nothing to do with the church. Neither did the old Masons, because they were dealing directly from Kemet. They were the ones who was opening up the secrets of the Catholic Church, and they were driving the Catholic Church crazy.
Mm.
It was Elias Ashmole, who was the French person at that time, who was holding down that type of Oriental Masonry. But it was Cardinal Lorenzo Ricci, the Jesuit general of the Jesuits, who recruited Adam Weishaupt, a Jew who pretended to convert to Christianity.
Mm.
And he was the one, Weishaupt, who they say who took the place and became George Washington. Adam Weishaupt had connections to all of the Jewish, or the white Jewish, or the pale Jewish merchants. They were never constituents. Lorenzo Ricci, while he was imprisoned, recruiting Weishaupt, told Weishaupt, we will take over the secret society, the arcane secrets, and we are going to co-opt that circle of erased or advanced teachers called the Illuminati.
Mm.
The Illuminati were not who you see today. The Illuminati were the ones that had the higher Oriental energies and information that was being spread against the Catholic Church's wishes. So what happened? They illuminated the Masonic order. And the final test, and I'm going to do two more things. The final test was when they invited the head of the Knights Templar, de Moray, into France, where King Philip and members of the Jesuits invited him in because they were at war with one another. They snatched him up, burned him to the stake alive in the public, and then took over. Now, the picture that you see of Baphomet, that's another symbol that was co-opted. Baphomet does not have anything to do with the devil and this and that. Baphomet was actually created by Eliphas Levi, that symbol. His name, Eliphas Levi, his real name was Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim. Eliphas Levi. He created the image that you see of Baphomet, which essentially was a conversion of the word Mahomet. Mahomet was a conversion of the Syrian word Muhammad.
Wow.
The Knights Templar students of those who were the students, the Moors. And that symbol that he wrote with the goat was always a symbol of initiation.
Wow.
The part where you see pointing up and then pointing down, you look at his fingertips and you'll see different stages of the moon. That's all. The flame at the top of the goat's head was pineal. The two people that you see chained to Baphomet was humanity stuck in the carnal regions. The goat with the breast essentially showed, and this is where they began to warp the reasoning, the goat with the breast essentially showed that it was both masculine and feminine. You didn't see any penis, you assumed. But the reason why the goat head was used, and that was what they took that and created that from what they learned from the Moors. The goat head was used because where do you find goats? You find goats in the highest mountains.
Yeah.
Why do Christianity tell you to come like sheep? Because sheep are down in the valleys. They're easily led. The only thing a sheep knows is when you get them into a herd, the only thing they know is the asshole of the sheep in front of them. So everything you see symbolized has been mutated and warped by this sick, narcissistic piece of crap coming out of Khazaria or rebuilding Khazaria. In fact, that's all you see right now because they don't give a damn if Israel itself gets destroyed because they have now began going into Argentina. You see how racist they are.
Yep.
Venezuela, you see what he did for that. You see they're heading over to Cyprus. You see they're heading over to different parts of the world to take over and to set up Israel. Because remember, Israel was supposed to have been set up in Uganda, Argentina, and about 6 other places before they chose there. And it was the church who told them to choose that area where Judea is supposed to have been, because Palestine was first Judea. So Rothschild said, well, let's go there because we could then use the Bible as a means for our reasons to be there and to co-opt that region. Anyway, let me stop. I'm ranting.
No, you dropping some bombs actually, and I'm the goat story is in the Baphomet is phenomenal because even the Nazi sign, we all know the Nazi logo was not the distorted. You know what I'm saying? So you talking about the inversions? Yes, and there's so much of that's a whole damn course, a year round, course to get into all the the fuckery. But
you ever heard of what Hitler was saying? Actually, they always made it look like he was crazy. You never know what he was talking about. Now that they translated what he had to say, he was trying to warn us about this Khazar.
Wow.
Answer a couple of questions from the people before we. I know they'd be mad at us if we did. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them up. Let me see, and I'm gonna have to ask. I got a question to ask you about off air whenever we get a chance about the significance of the goat, and then the devil that died over there in Buckingham not too long ago. This a story that pretty prolific, but I want to share with you. But shout out to Truth is Within. I love this question, man. This is a powerful question. Truth is Within says the question boils down to: are we all Africans or not? Colorism and generalization can only take someone so far in self-studies. Africans come in different shades. It's both in and out. The movement. Hotep.
Well, remember, there's no real Africans or anything else. There was a continent, one massive continent called Pangaea, or supposedly called Pangaea. And Pangaea was one mass sitting in the ocean. That was Eden. The breaking up of Pangaea is the breaking up of Eden and Adam going out into the world, so to speak. The Tower of Babel and so forth. The breaking off of Pangaea, where all the speech was one, It broke up because part of the lesson plan was to take us into different coordinates of reality and then to see the most, because I mean, we were looking at the Most High from one perspective. The different continents were created to be different schools and different places, because you could go up into Europe, into the coldest parts and regions, you could still find dark folks. And that BS about whether or not white people become white because we were black and they walked up into cold regions, that's BS. This guy is an artificial human. How do you explain the so-called Eskimos, which is not the Eskimo, that was essentially a very nasty name that white people assumed him. They're the Inuit people. How do you explain the Inuit people being brown, damn near black, and they only live up in the cold? What about that? That's just as stupid as evolution. If we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys?
It's common sense ain't so common anymore. That's what
It
I would
ain't
say
common
to
anymore. It's a dime a dozen.
that. That's what I would say to that, man. That's sum that up real quick.
Yeah,
man.
I like what he's coming from it. Yeah, know that you're not African. You are again a spirit having a physical experience. And if you want to talk about autochthonous, the land that you are in when it broke apart, you didn't come from Africa. Like I said, you're not African. You essentially, if there are Africans here, there's only 2 or 3% Africans that actually ended up here in this part of North America, all the way up through Canada, because there was no such thing as the artificial border that you see between the so-called United States and Canada. It was one all region. Okay, it was called Canaan. That's where you get the Canada from. And so when you deal with that and you see what that really means, you'll know that you are autochthonous to this land, and that the people who were enslaved with the tribes and the people that were here. In fact, there was a queen up in the Chicagoland area that went to war with Kemet. Because there was a Kemet. You'll see that in the old maps where I went down in Louisiana, and they have these old maps. That's the reason why they steered the hurricane over there, because these old maps were showing you maps where black people were. They destroyed that part of Louisiana. And they mapped that actually showed where we actually were. That came from all the way over. We were always one mass. So only 2 to 3%, maybe even they say all the way up to 8% of the people that came out of Africa came here to our part of the world, because we were already here. This European didn't build any of these Capitol buildings you see out here. That's us. Any place you see a dome, that's us. Okay? And they took away the bells, because when the bells rang, vibrations used to go through the entire community. You don't hear any church bells anymore, do you? You don't see people using copper anymore, do you? But all of this is coming apart slowly but surely, because of brothers like yourself, the sponsoring people, letting them know what time it is. The young people want to know, but we got to collectively come together now, and we got to rescue our children, especially with the ratchet crap that we see with women, the young girls over there turning their asses up and doing all this thing, come take it kind of attitude. People don't know that the so-called twerking was an African dance. It came out of Mauritania. It was an African dance. It was a fertility dance. But now they're just raunchy. They don't even know what they're doing anyway.
It was sacred though, and that's facts. You spitting fire as usual, and it's a phenomenal conversation. I'm definitely grateful, man, because there's a lot of things that you hit that I was eager for to be, shared as far as your perspective. But I'm gonna jump into a couple more questions real quick. Shout out to @Vanessa Sanders 2403 says, "What is the significance in them turning CERN off about, or what is this about with them turning off CERN?"
Too many entities began coming through. CERN is the white man's Kundalini. Okay, they need to create a portal in order for them to deal with. See, remember I kept telling you that there was a artificial life form that blended together with organic life forms to create what was known as the animus. The animus needed a way to teach us to be able to bring them here. Well, part of the experimentation with CERN was to open up portals or to see where we could hook up a portal through the sun and to go through into different domes without having to cross the Antarctic or get under the Antarctic. So CERN essentially was to open up portals, but what they were going to send through started coming out, and you're going to start seeing different kind of creatures that people are going to show you, especially in the South American regions, where you're going to see different kind of creatures coming through, different entities. This is where you're talking about the so-called aliens. They're not aliens; they're other forms of man.
Whew. Okay, I'm gonna drop a quick assistant here. So we've talked about on the channel several times about the difference between human and mankind. Right. So with you throwing that out there, Doc, are you saying that these quote unquote so-called extraterrestrials are actually a part of mankind versus being actually extraterrestrial?
Yeah, these are entities who actually took on trajectories of humanization. Their humanization template was not ours. They have a whole other template under a whole other dome. There are billions of domes in the infinity of what we call reality. People really believe that we're the only ones. We're not the only ones. We are on a two-dimensional beltway. And that beltway is called the so-called flatted plane. And the dichotomy of the mind of God, as you learn the mind of God, you begin to understand that certain words tend to solidify our perceptions of what could be and what is. Like, for instance, when we talk about eternity, and then we talk about infinity. Eternity is the masculine. Infinity is the feminine. Because infinity is a measurable part. Eternity is not measurable. And the masculine principle is always invisible. The feminine principle is what brings the masculine principle into being. Like you see a pregnant woman, what goes on inside of her is based upon what you activate inside of her.
Yes.
But if we were to take everything and begin to stack that, what we are being given visually and what we are being taught, we begin to see that goes back in waves to the mind of God. And you can always have a communication with the mind of God if you understand how to read what it is that she has been saying through its creations. And that's why we don't say he, God, they say he, that they're actually abbreviating your head for head. That's he. But no, there's no he. That's why I say it. Because when you go outside and the water's falling on you from the sky, we say it is raining.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Wow.
Or when we go in when it's cold and shit, we say it is cold.
Yeah. You dropping bombs on them tonight, Doc. Dropping bombs. Yes, sir. Now that's man, that's powerful.
But me just say, brother, I'm just address that, brother. They're not Olmecs. The Olmec was actually a white man's word that was assigned to them. It was the Tamoanchan. Tamoanchan. The Tamoanchan were actually the Z people that came, that you could see the Z relatives from out of Western Africa. So there's no Olmecs actually. There are the Tamoanchan, and Olmec simply means rubber people. And you know damn well ain't nobody gonna say, "Hey, I'm a rubber person." No.
Yeah.
And they also Z people, and also you see when you say Abubakar, Abubakar, he sent his ships over here.
You talking about Master Musa's brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
He sent over 200 ships.
I believe it was a big fleet.
Only one came back, right?
Yeah, it was a big fleet.
And then all of a sudden, my boy said, "Where everybody at?" They over there at the party over there on the west there, Your Majesty. He said, well, yo, fire up 200 more ships. We're going to hold out there and join this party. And then Mansa Musa left. His son, no, he didn't do it just a good job as Mansa Musa, but Mansa
Was that
Musa
Abakari?
yeah, but what's his name? Mansa Musa came over here. But most people, they butchered his name when the Spanish arrived. Mansa Musa became Montezuma.
Wow.
See, they twisted up everything. So there was this trade going back and forth. America already had pyramids. In fact, when you look at the pyramids in so-called Africa, or Alkebulan versus over here in Tameri, in America, Amerita, Ta meaning land, Meri meaning beautiful. When you're looking at the pyramids, the perfected pyramids that was the step pyramids are the temples. In fact, what is the name of Herodotus? Herodotus said in his memoirs that he visited a land where temples sat upon the top of pyramids. Where's that? You know where it's at.
Here.
It damn sure ain't over there in Africa.
Yeah.
So we were all over the place. And I don't know if you saw anything when you looked at this Hidden Colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Brother Tariq was there. One of my offerings was that the deeper the white man digs for evidence of his own existence and origins, the blacker the planet gets. So he don't care. No matter how deep he digs looking for evidence, he gonna run into us because he don't belong here. He was a plant. He's a transplant. Okay.
That's nice. Yeah.
So the other thing, like I said, watch out who it is that you're giving your attention to.
Yeah.
Watch out because this guy Clark Caitlin is a man. Your boy Britt Griner. Them got all of them dangling, all of them packing and dangling, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just and the same thing with your girl, the singer.
Oh, it's Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot of that, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let me shout out to Truth is Within for the super chat. We appreciate you, family. Truth Within had another dope question. My point was, or the initial question that they were asking was, do you feel like there is only one race, or do you feel like there's multiple races?
The race is an artificial construct. There were tribes. There were people you were born to. Just like the word Moor is not a noun.
Right.
We created it as a noun. But the word Moor came from the not Greek, but the Aegean language for black and brown. Morush or Morus. And so the Moor, or M-A-U-R or M-U, those are the words that actually created the word Moor. Moor is an adjective. It's a descriptive adjective. So you say, I'm a Moor, that just like you say, okay, well, I'm a man. Yeah, well, we know that. We see that.
Yeah.
You keep saying that I'm a Moor. You keep saying, well, I'm black. I'm black. I'm black. I'm black. Yeah, we got it. Because if you look at it, you always see that was a qualifier for the Moors. It was the Ubayyad Moors. You see what I'm saying? There was always a qualifying tribe that went with the word Moor. My point, Dr. Phil, is there one race or multiple? No, the race is a construct. It's an artificial construct, beloved. It doesn't exist. It's the way the white man categorizes who he needs to conquer in order to stay above everybody and to be able to keep his superior status. It's like that South African doctor or archaeologist who told Mandela, "We cannot love you, because to love you means to destroy ourselves." Once the white man falls in love with somebody who is black, he disappears. So we have to hate you. Hate is actually racial defense. It's his defense of his own kind, his mankind.
Yes. Yeah. That's powerful. And that then now I gotta bring up and show reverence to the honorable ancestor, newly ancestor not too long ago, Dr. Frances Cress Wesseling, with the
Yes.
her work, the ISIS papers. Yeah, like because she goes extremely deep into that. Even when you talk about the shape of the gun, in the comparison to the phallus and how it's deep. It's really deep.
Too. Look at the rockets. Yeah, look at the rockets.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, her mentor was Dr. Neely Fuller, who we sponsored at our gathering of the masters down in Atlanta. And guess what? Brother T.D. Snakes was not going to deal with anything on that day that we had. And we had Dr. Neely Fuller, we had myself, we had Brother Neely Fuller, we had the keynote speaker was Baba Dick Gregory. We had a serious pack, and we were broadcasting it all in Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, T.D. Snake says, we're going to meet that Saturday. The day before, he put that up in order to circumvent us what was getting ready to go down in that hotel that we had booked.
And that goes right back to the video that I shared with the young brother about them boule, bootlicking, what I'm saying, coon ass, like that. That goes right back to. That's why I wanted to share that with you, because there are some young brothers out there who see through the veil and see through the bullshit for sure.
Yeah. I gotta go. Kudos. Let me just give that up to the young brothers and sisters who are out there who see what time it is and are trying to actually change the way it is. That the trajectory of our young people. But the first thing you have to do is if you're a single parent as a mother, find out where the men are and put your boy there in the hands of those brothers. Martial art, technology, whatever it is that you can have as mentors, because you can't raise a man. Okay, and if they're imprinting you, then they're imprinting emotions. They're not taught how to deal with their emotions. That's why you see them so quick to go draw a gun and start firing up and doing things that come directly from their emotions and not from their thought process, not from their logic. Okay, so that we have to take our children and we have to homeschool them, find a way, because we keep giving them over to this beast, and they clock this beast. And if they graduate, they take their pictures, and the pictures that are taken, they go ahead into the net. They take the school pictures and put on the dark web. Anyway.
Yeah, and now when with that, is that for the sole sake of just to murder them? Is it for the sake of using them as organs and harvesting and adrenochrome?
To track them. You got to remember the ritual. The Khazarian ritual for sacrificing a goy during Yom Kippur, during the time down around Christmas time, especially in Halloween, they actually, this is not something that I'm speaking about. This was spoken about, and this is what they say. Well, that's because it's anti-Semitism. Bull. This was happening back in the 14 and 1300s. 14 and 1500s, 1600s. This was going on in Europe. These were the holidays. And what they would do is they would deal with their matzah bread, the types of breads that they would use. They would dip it in the blood of the children and eat it. They were saying that they were becoming the power of what these children actually had in their DNA. They were teaching their DNA through drinking the blood that had the DNA of our children, especially when it was adrenalized after torturing them.
Yeah,
they were taking in and sucking down the consciousness of your people. That's what they are. They're vampires. And if you are eating fast foods, and I want to tell you this, if you're a fast food eater at McDonald's, at Burger King, at any of these restaurants that serve meat, you're a cannibal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. People don't want to hear the truth, but you know, I saw I wish I would have saved it or clipped it, but I saw a video not too long ago where it was there might have been a European couple. I can't remember, but anyway, I saw a video not too long ago where some people took a sandwich and took the DNA and then did like a 23andMe or some sort of DNA testing on it and submitted that. And it came back like reptilian. I want to say like with some of the I forgot what exactly it was, but I know it was reptilian. But it was of animal. You know what I'm saying? Like origins. Like
yeah,
so.
but they took the DNA out of both, and they found a finger, one of the burgers, and so champion state of mind, hetapu alafia adupueo.
Oh shoot! I pulled it down. Okay, got it. Yeah. That's. Yeah, it's a sick world, man. Sick world.
Very sick world. And we know who the person is that's creating that sickness. We know who the virus is.
Oh, yeah, that's facts. Well, I know we got to get ready to shut it down soon, Doc. So I want to keep, respect of your time. But before we get out of here, I got all the links set up for the tribe. So if you want to...
Look at this stallion.
I snuck that one in there on you.
That was cool. A stallion is a male horse. That should tell you something, right?
Listen, I had to sneak that one in there because look, you had me rolling the whole night, boy, talking about these transformers out here, man. We ain't talking about Optimus Prime either.
No, we ain't talking about that. It's more like Optimus Prime. That's what we're talking about.
Oh my goodness. But yeah,
anyway, you got my digits, you got everything that's there. Please, get in contact with my wife about the Juice Plus, because this is the purest of the foods that I have found that's actually kept me going. In fact, when my wife went through her trials and had a cancer that came out of nowhere, she went through a burdensome, a very, very stringent, very, very, very life-threatening form of therapy, because it had to be done. It was like triage. Like she tell people, if you get shot, you don't go into the hospital and they start making, carrot juice. You got to go and do what you need to do to stabilize. Well, when they were going into to stabilize her, to find out what type of therapy they were going to use, whether it was going to be the less potent or the most potent, when they found out that our ages are up there in the upper 70s, when they found out her age and they took her vitals, her organs and her vitals came back as a 20-year-old. So whatever it is my wife is doing, y'all need to get up on that. Because if she, at the ages that we are, could go in at a time when she was actually shot suddenly, when something in her was trying to assassinate her, she essentially fought and became victorious because of her lifestyle. In fact, you need to deal with her book that puts her through that. The book that she wrote, Get Up Online. Wow, it just came in my head. Get Up Online, and it's what's the name of the book again, Boo? Can't hear it. But her new book, the foreword was written by Shaka Khan and her sister. So I would suggest that you definitely get with her and visit her, because she holds these 8 o'clock meetings that are off the chain, and you want to deal with it really, really up to date, really good information. And that's it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Doc. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Another banger, another classic, man, for the ages. I definitely give gratitude and thanks to you, for coming and doing what you do always. And the tribe been asking about it. Matter of fact, shout out to the young brother Rob, man. He was a young brother that was like, yo, when the next time you gonna get Dr. Valentine? I was like, man, you know what? He's been on my mind for a minute now, but you just gave me the spark to go ahead and see if I can make this thing happen. So I want to give him a huge shout out, for being willing to, and he's a young brother too, Doc. One of the young brothers that you're speaking of. I want to say he's like in his early 20s, but he's down for the cause. He's studying, he's doing the work. So it's like, I see the future, I see the potential, man. We definitely got a lot of young brothers and sisters who are definitely, you know, on the right frequency for sure. So I give gratitude to him too. But I definitely thank you. I'll definitely be reaching out in the near future, you know, to tap in with you, and then also, you know, to do anything I can to support you and the Queen. But and if you get the book, let me know, because I'll put that into the upload, you know, once I edit it.
Yeah, the book is oh wow, I had the tip of my tongue. It's her newest work. But anyway, go up online and ask her about her book. You can also call her. Well, not call her, but text her first, and then she'll get back to you, and then she'll give you permission to call in at a time, because she's very busy. You know, so she has so many activities. She's buzzing around here like zoom, 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 zoom. So I'm the one who sits more sedentary than anything else. But anyway, you know, get in contact with her if you really want to deal about true nutrition, because she's done, and she can go up online and listen to her meditative tapes and her teachings. Go to go to Dr. Nalani Valentine. All right. And with that, thank you so much for your kind invitation, Belarisha.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna have this. This was fun.
Oh yeah. Time. Listen, I'm looking forward to the next one, man. You're welcome anytime. You can come every day if you want to around here. But listen, I definitely appreciate you, Doc.
Yeah,
I'll be in touch soon.
All right, beloved.
Yes,
take care.
All right. Yes, sir. You too. I appreciate you, Doc. Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.
Peace. All right, family. I'm gonna go ahead and slide out not too long after Doc, but I definitely want to give gratitude and thanks to y'all, man, for you know, the love, the support, for always holding us down. And shout out to my tribe, man, that's been reaching out. I got the emails and the DMs and all that. Yeah, I just had to take a quick break, family. As far as from doing this work online. It's 11:11. Look at that. So I had to kind of unplug for a little bit. The ancestors told me to sit down and chill out. But in the meantime, me being me and me doing what I do, I definitely was still putting in the work, you know, in regards to the family here locally that I work with and work for and serve, as far as, you know, for energy healing, spiritual consultations, all those good things. And then also, I definitely am working on finishing up everything that we have coming in the private community, as far as the courses, as far as the trainings and all the above. That's pretty much wrapped up. And so we got a lot coming in store, family. So I had to take a little break to finish up some off-air work, but that work is pretty much complete for the most part. So we're definitely back in the building now in these Ashe streets. And shout out again to the brother Rod for, you know, looking out for Dr. Valentine and for giving me the heads up and a reminder to reach out to see, can we make this happen? So I give gratitude and thanks to Doc again for burning it down, as he always does. And we got some heat in store for the rest of the weekend, family. Matter of fact, we'll be back tomorrow night. I want to say 10 p.m. With brother Baba Kepra Patah, which we ain't had him on in a minute. And I know the tribe's been asking for Baba Patah to come back and do what he do, because he's another prolific mind, you know, who comes and drops the divine, you know, insight, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, overstanding, understanding, understanding, especially from the Kemetic Ifsheshe perspective, or just as metaphysical perspective for sure. So I definitely look forward to making this thing happen again tomorrow, family. And I definitely give gratitude to the entire tribe. Shout out to everybody for emailing and checking in on me. Everything is good and great, family. I definitely look forward to tapping all the way back in with everybody in the private community next week, as well as on the channel over the weekend. We're gonna be back. And before I get up out of here, let me give another huge shout out to the matriarch of my spiritual family here in the Central Florida area. She's going to be celebrating her Oshun birthday party tomorrow. So we're going to be out here bim-bam this thing up with the drums and paying homage to the matriarch of the Ashe family. So shout out to Yeye Oshun Bumi for her 56th annual Odun Oshun tomorrow, July 25th at 5 p.m., located at Tampa, Florida. Her Royal Majesty, the female king, Obarinin, Yeye Oshun Bumi Olafimi. We give gratitude and thanks to our great matriarch of our spiritual community. Definitely looking forward to chopping it up and paying homage and honor to the goddess Oshun, as well as our distinguished matriarch Yeye. We appreciate you, love you, Yeye. And so with that, tribe, much love and, you know, appreciation to all y'all as well. And yeah, we definitely gonna be back up in this thing, and I'll be chopping up with y'all expeditiously. So shout out to Dr. Valentine Baba Sanu coming in and burning this thing down again, doing what he do. So family, I appreciate all the love, the support, the super chats, you know, the new members, the new channel subscribers, the new private community subscribers, new Patreon subscribers. Definitely nothing but love all day, every day for all of y'all, family. So I will be back tomorrow, and we will see y'all tomorrow night, to chop it up with Baba Kepper Patah. So with that, family, we give gratitude and thanks to y'all. Thanks for riding with us tonight, family. We out. Peace.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtẹ́ ní takisa ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe nígbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.